Hi guys, I wanted to touch base with you on the ISearch because that's what we're switching gears to now for a while. Look at the requirements for the final draft and give you a brief heads up on the way the speeches are going. Are going to go. We'll get you more details on the speeches later, but for now let's really focus on that final draft, okay? So these are the requirements for the final draft, and this should be posted in Classroom very shortly. The paper itself has to be 12 to 15 pages, and I checked that by getting your rough draft without any pictures or anything like that, just perfect MLA, right? Once the rough draft is approved, then you kind of go nuts with the final draft. But you've got to give me the rough first and give me time to look at it and make sure that it's okay. And the page count will go up once you start putting pictures in. So that's fine. Your essay does not need to be in consistent point of view. Most students write in first person for their intros and conclusions and third person for the body. This is Miss Kenya's right up here. I'm a little bit looser on that. And actually, you know what? She's being loose too because she says most people do this, but it's fine. Whatever you want to do. You want to write the whole thing in first person. It's called the ISearch. I think do that. I like to do it narrative style. So don't feel like suddenly if you wrote your whole thing in first person and it says here that most people do third person. Well, who cares what most people do? Do it the way you want to do it. That's cool. Okay, formatted to include visually appealing cover page that connects to your topic, a title that connects to research better than ISearch Final Draft or ISearch True Crime. Like, you can be creative. Have fun. A table of contents that includes the sections of your paper and their corresponding page numbers, your paper but all jazzed up. And then your paper order should be your cover page followed by your table of contents with page numbers, the paper with section titles, and the works cited. So one of the reasons why I'm going over this is because we've been operating under the assumption we'd be creating binders all year, right? And we're not doing that anymore because how are you going to get it to me? So we've reduced some of the requirements so that it's a fancy looking final draft that you can all do in pretty much in Google Docs will be the best way to do it. And we're going to look at a couple of samples, a couple of aspects of samples so that you see what I'm talking about with all these. So fine print and the due date. Your final draft is due Monday, 4/13. Yeah, April 13th. Sorry. I was like, this weird home thing, like what's today? I don't even know what it is, but that's, yeah, April 13th by 11:59 p.m. So those of you who have not given me a rough draft yet, or even all your research, get on that. I need it. This deadline is not flexible. You lose 10% of the final grade for each day that it is late, meaning if your final draft is a week late, the highest possible grade you could receive is a 30%, which I believe means that you would then get an incomplete for AP Lit and have to do like summer school or something like that to make it up. Yeah, so that would be a bummer. So how am I going to grade your final draft? Assuming that no, not assuming, because you have to do it. Your rough draft is where I check the requirements. Did you use all the sources you needed to use? Did you cite them all? Is the citation correct? All that kind of stuff. Did you write the right amount? So that then all I have to really look at with your final draft is the quality of the draft, the actual writing. Does it flow smoothly? Is it deep? Does it use your sources well? Not just correctly, but well. And also, do you cite your pictures? And we're going to look at that in a second. You got to have the works cited page in there. But again, if you didn't have it in the rough draft, I didn't accept your rough draft, so we're fine there. And I'll look a little bit to make sure that you've made changes based on. I don't make a lot of suggestions on the rough drafts. If you're not citing things correctly, I tell you that. That kind of thing. And I don't accept the rough draft until I see that it's met those minimum stuff. So then there's a rubric that I'll use to fill it out, and that's actually right here. Let me just go on that. So visual presentation is 15 points. First, I just check to make sure that all this stuff is in there. Check it all off. If it is, then I start to grade. If it's not, I don't grade it because it's not done. Visual presentation is 15 points. That's just how it looks. Organization, that's the overall writing style and how the stuff is all kind of hangs together. Content and research, did you come from a lot of good sources? Did you use your sources well? Like, did you give me one little quote from your novel and then move on? That's probably a bad sign. Like if you're using your novel heavily in there, your novels and poems and plays, because this is AP literature, it should have that strong emphasis. Content and editing, everything's got to be neat and tidy, spelled well, punctuated correctly. Content, interest factor, like, is the whole thing good? Like, is it like a paper that I actually would want to read? That kind of thing. Does it show strong, clear thought? So all of that comes together to make this sort of overall holistic content grade. And that's sort of how it's graded. So let's take a look at some examples. First one, we're going to look at two iSearches. One is an actual AP iSearch from last year. This is Alex Rapp's iSearch. So this is her cover page. And let's actually make that a little smaller so we can see the whole cover page. So it's got the title, Fate and Free Will, an Exploration of Destiny in Literature and Real Life. Cool picture, and then a cool quote under it, and Alexandra Rapp, Spring 2019. Now, she didn't put her works cited, her table of contents in the essay because she made it as a separate document to be able to like just stick it in the binder. So I'm switching over to a different doc to show you what that basically looks like. And the table of contents looked a little different in the binders anyways because they were like breaking the binder into sections as well, like section 1 and then pages within that. So this one, yours is just a table of contents for the actual essay. Your sections and the page numbers of things going into it. So there's introductory ensemble, beginning the search. This was not one of my students. This was an earlier, this predates me. So this is before the iSearch went all literary and that kind of thing. So concluding the work, page numbers, sections. Yeah. Clever, I like this. Food for thought. No, food for food. Okay, so let's go back to Alex's thing. And we're going to expand it out a little bit so you can see in better detail. Come on. There we go. Okay, so introduction. Life is a compromise between fate and free will. Albert Hubbard. So that she's got this thing. She's doing hers with just a single column, often double, like 2 columns. That's a cool choice, but hers looks pretty neat and clean. As she's going through, there's some cool pull quotes that are cited. And then pictures. All those pictures have citations saying where they basically came from. Some of hers are a little bit on the vague side, like photo via talking statues, London. If you're going to do that, I'd rather have also like a works cited for your pictures where like this kind of thing is a little bit clearer. What I want is generally like a web address, somewhere specifically where it came from. It doesn't have to be super technical, but what it cannot be is photo courtesy of Google, because Google doesn't actually create content, it just finds it. So that's like saying I found it online. Doesn't help me at all. You got to tell me what website it came from. And then kind of in here there's a picture of a book, and then she's got a little caption with most of the photos, which I think is a really nice touch. Robert Jordan's 814 page book, my second source, and then photo via book depository. So that's a decent citation. I really like the caption though. Schools of Thought, it's a new section. She's got that little blue title. It's cool, nice big font, stuff you can't do in MLA, but once your MLA is approved, you can do it in this. And then she's got a new pull quote to try to set the tone for the whole thing. And then little sections even within that section, you know, and she's got like the major section is with a big blue title, and then smaller kind of bold underlined things for subsections within that section. And then some white space to indicate like pages are no longer at a premium. You're not counting your pages, so you can use white space to show a break without feeling like, oh, I'm just trying to pad out my essay. This is just being stylistic and cool now. All right, so then fate versus destiny, all that kind of stuff. Cool pull quotes to bring us in. All that stuff is nice. More photos. And that's pretty much, it just goes like that as the whole thing goes. You got charts, and that's how she's got her paper organized. And the final draft came to, instead of 12 to 15 pages, 20 something. So just into the 25th page. And then her works cited page at the end. And the works cited page gets its, I don't know why it's so slow in the scrolling right now. The works cited gets its own full page. It always starts at the top of its new page, not just later somewhere. So hopefully that helps give you an idea of what I'm looking for. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And if you are way behind, dude, get it together. Get that stuff to me. Okay, see ya.